Well, first of all, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Me and a couple other individuals are gonna kind of introduce themselves, but we're excited to present for you tonight at our next parent university. I think we're at number 3 right now, and we're going to be doing this the rest of the school year. Our apologies in advance. Our translation fell through for the night, so you get us in English. I do speak a little Spanish, but it would be pretty rough there, and I will save everybody the pain of listening to my broken Spanish there. But my name is Brandon Peterson. I'm the principal at West Oak Middle School, and the two other individuals here.
I'm Colleen Brogy. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Diamond Lake.
Hi, I'm Nicole Clement, and I teach 3rd grade at West Oak Intermediate.
Thank you, guys. And what we're going to be presenting on tonight is is called Tools and Strategies to Support Your Child's Social Emotional Needs. This is something that we have done a lot of work in over the past 3, I guess we're working on 3 years now of our district SEL team. So we wanted to kind of explain to you the process, the history of it, what we are doing on the school end, but also we wanted to make sure we offered some tidbits for you to take home, and what's something that you can apply, to your own families and to your own child as well, and just to kind of help you as parents or guardians as you try navigating childhood all over again. So yeah, we're going to tell you a little bit about why we're doing this, a little bit on what we're doing, and then we'll get into some number of examples, so for you to apply with your own child. All right, so we will get started here. First of all, why is this important? SEL has just really come to the forefront, with COVID going on, happening, and then also continuing. These are things that we have seen just skyrocket in the past couple years, but also it's been on an upward trend here for the last decade, or a couple decades actually, or so here. But why do we teach SEL, or social emotional learning? It helps our kids. They're in such a transitional age, all the way from kindergarten through 8th grade and then on up. They are continually growing and changing, and their bodies are changing, and their experiences with their friends, and then also just their classroom environment. We've noticed at the middle school, our 5th graders becoming 6th grade, they don't have a homeroom teacher anymore, and they don't have that one class, and they have to move from class to class. So there's just a lot of changes going on. So just to better understand themselves, this helps to develop a positive self-image, and with social media and just the negativity in so many, kids being exposed to negativity on so many fronts. This is just so important for kids to develop that positive self-image, and we try to be as positive as possible, and we'll talk about some of the ways that we're incorporating that in our buildings, to take responsibility for their actions, and to give them the tools to develop relationships with others. And that's something I know we as educators, we are constantly working with our kids, and this goes from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade, and then as they go off into high school too, is how can I interact with my peers, and it's a challenge, and we'll tell you a little bit about that here a little later on. But why is this also important? As I said here, that upward trend of what we're seeing with mental health disorders, and this was pre-COVID actually, but ADHD, commonly known as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. We're looking at over 6 million kids having that in the United States alone, and that's just a huge number. Like 1 out of every 10 kids having ADHD. Same thing with anxiety. We throw in depression as well, almost at 5%, and then behavioral problems. So we're not talking hundreds of kids or thousands of kids. We're talking millions of kids just dealing with these mental disorders. And this was pre-COVID. So obviously this subject is very, very important to us. This is something that we deal with every day, and I know it's something that parents have to deal with every day as well. All right. So what we're doing within the district, I know I think we're going to go in order here, with Colleen start kicking us off with our Diamond Lake, and then Nicole start continuing with the intermediate school, and I'll end with the middle school. But really, this has been a work in progress, and we have not known all the answers, and we've kind of built the plane while in flight, something like that sometimes. But we started with 16 members, and we have representatives from each of our building. We have, I believe, three teachers from each building, 3 from Diamond Lake, 3 from the intermediate school, 3 from the middle school. Our school liaison, Daisy Carrera, has just been phenomenal. Our social workers from each of our buildings have been part of this from the beginning. So really just a great team and some great representation from each of our buildings. So when we first started, we started with the goal of how can we support our kids, how can we support our parents in our community, and then how can we support our staff, K through eighth grade. And that's very daunting. That's a huge task and a huge undertaking. And I think by year 3 here, we're just starting to scratch the surface on hitting all 3 of these, which is pretty exciting. With students here, we have implemented from our second year is a full K through 8th grade curricula, and we'll talk about that here in just a bit. And then also we're excited to announce here that this year we have screened all of our kids, which is over about 900 students, which is called the DESA screener, and really that looks at the different skills that our kids have in regards to a variety of areas of social emotional learning. And from there, what we were able to do is to offer interventions and teachings to help educate our kids at that tier 1 level, which is about 75%, and then we get into that tier 2 level, which is a little more intensive supports, which is about 15% of our kids, and then that highest level, which is that 5% or tier 3. So it really helped us to distinguish what kids need, what supports, and how to get them there as well. So we're this has been extremely valuable already, and we're just starting this process here with our DESA screener. With our families, this was huge during COVID. It still remains important, and this is why we're here tonight. Is we have a number of parent universities that we have done in the past, and we're going to continue to do. Like I said before, our community outreach. Daisy has worked very closely with a number of stakeholders in the community to really reach out and get kids and get families what they need, especially dealing with a lot of dire situations where we're just trying to get them fundamental like clothing, food, sometimes shelter, sometimes paying bills. So the fact that we're able to do that is just we really enjoy the fact that we can have an impact on families and kids. And then finally, this is the one that we finally hit upon at year 3 is how can we take care of ourselves, which is our staff members, our teachers, because we can't be our best unless we're at our best. And so we have to take care of ourselves so we can do the best that we can for our kids. So along with parent universities, where we're here tonight and we're trying to educate our community and our parents, we also want to give our teachers some skill sets as well, where how can they better approach kids in a more productive way and just to be that much more effective. And then finally, a little, taking care of ourselves in what we call monthly moments that matter, where we have, certain events where we're able just to kind of connect on a more personal level and building of that team, collaborating, and then just enjoying each other's company. And really, I think that's going to really help our social emotional health throughout the year. But these are the 2 things that we have started this year. So really, it's been a long work in progress. We're not done by any means, but 3 years in, we're hitting on all 3 of these goals that we initially set out for. So just really exciting stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Brogy in regards to telling our people a little bit about what Diamond Lake School is doing.
Thank you. First, I'm going to talk about our PBIS program, which is what stands for Positive Behavior Intervention and Support. And it's a research-based program that helps us create building-wide expectations and create common understanding among students, staff, and families. And we really want to reinforce that positive behavior and teach students to be consistently respectful, responsible, and safe. And this goes along with our school and behaviors at home as well. We really promote making good choices. And one thing that we like to do at our school is to catch students being good if they're walking down the hallway, being respectful to somebody else, being responsible with their materials. We like to give them these Cub Cards, and you can see on the screen, there's a picture of the actual Cub Card that we give to students. And if we see them exhibiting any of these behaviors, write their name on it, fill it out, and students can either take them home and share them with you, or we have voting jars at the front of our building and they can choose to maybe a certain incentive. This last month, we were trying to earn an extra recess. So students were putting their cards in the jars to fill it up. And then also sometimes we have choices, pajama day, popcorn day, sports day. So they get to choose what they like. So they're really, as a whole building trying to win these celebrations, and also by being positive and having these safe, respectful, and responsible behaviors. So it's kind of a nice way to promote those positive things. Now, another curriculum-based thing we do is the zones of regulation. And the zones of regulations really help students to become more aware and independent and regulating and understanding their feelings. And we have what's called 4 zones, and our 1 zone, our green zone, is very calm state, alert, and they're ready to learn. And then we have a blue zone where they're kind of maybe slower and their emotions are moving a little bit slower. And our yellow is they're starting to get heightened and somewhat out of control. And then a red zone is they're out of control. So we're really focusing on their feelings at our age level and just understanding how they feel. And we're all going to have these different feelings, but our goal is always to try to be in the green zone, which is ready to learn. So not that, being in any of the other zones, it's okay to do that. We're just trying to get back into the green zone and ready to learn zone. So what's really nice is our second step program kind of encompasses both our behavior and our zones of regulations. And we teach lessons to kind of regulate those feelings. And if I have strong feelings, how do I bring them down and get back into the green zone? So our second set program is also a research-based. It's very engaging. Teachers have weekly lessons that we use in our classrooms. And again, it's promoting that positive behavior. And at Diamond Lake, the skills that we focus on are listening skills, focusing attention, making friends, and problem solving. So these are really good things that, even at school, second step isn't just for school, it's also for our home and lifelong skills that we're teaching our students. So these 3 components combined, the PBIS, zones of regulation, and second step, at Diamond Lake, we're kind of building the foundation and building these skills. And at the West Oak Intermediate School and the West Oak Middle School, they're starting to build and expand on what we're doing at Diamond Lake.
That's me here. My bad.
Thought that'd be a good intro for you.
Okay.
So many of the things that Colleen mentioned are going to be reiterated because, like she said, what we're doing at the intermediate school really builds on what they do at Diamond Lake. So as far as zones of regulation, that does kind of taper off as as the kids get older. But in 3rd grade, we do continue with that vocabulary and try to utilize it. It's a great way for students to name their feelings, identify their feelings, and find strategies for coping with their feelings. So we use that in 3rd grade, and they kind of continue to use the vocabulary, but not as heavy on the curriculum. And then as a school, we all utilize PBIS as well. So really focusing on that positive behavior, reinforcing positive behavior for the same things, being respectful, responsible, safe. And we do different things like monthly challenges or refreshers on being safe, respectful, and responsible in different areas of the school. Similar to the Cub Card, we have something called a Possum Card for when students are really doing a great job of showing us that they are making great choices at school. Mr. Preble spins a wheel at the end of each week, and if a student got a Possum Card, they have a chance to win a prize. So that's something that they get really excited about. We also all incorporate morning meeting. We have 30 minutes set aside for morning meeting each day, which is really great. It's a great way for us to build community within our classrooms, and just get to know the kids, and for them to get to know each other. We get to share out about certain things. We get to play games and do different activities together. And it's just a really great way to build community. And then as Ms. Brogy said, we also use Second Step, which is a really great curriculum, a social emotional learning curriculum. And it really does build on what they learn at the primary school. So in the intermediate school, we focus a little bit more on specific skills like empathy, kindness, skills for learning. And it really does set the students up to be successful in all aspects of their lives.
All right, thank you, Nicole. So at the middle school, I would say just looking at what Diamond Lake has done in the past, and then also the intermediate school, you guys have served as more of a mentor for us, because the things that we have done have kind of fell flat over the years, and really we don't have a homeroom, we don't have a time set aside like a morning meeting time. It's how can we make this work? So we don't set aside a specific time to do SEL work. We embed it in everything that we do. We embed it every day as well. So if you see that second step still comes up, but we also wanted to incorporate this wheel on the other side, on the left side, which is called the castle wheel, which is very closely coincides with second step. But then a book here called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker, and there are 7 principles to form a more positive outlook on life, and really it the main message behind that book is success doesn't cause happiness. Happiness leads to success. So really just a great message, and it just gives a lot of great advice here on different ways that people can help make themselves more happier, a more innate happier person, and lead a more happy life. So if you look here with our castle wheel, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making, all pieces to that pie here are just so important. All 5 of them are equally important, but for our middle school kids, but for all kids. So really, we've really embraced this thing wholeheartedly here for us. So as I said, we do not have a morning meeting time. We don't have a homeroom. How can we make this work? So this is what we do. The first period of each day, we have 5 minutes extra, and that's to do the pledge, that's to do the announcements. But every Monday, we have what we call an SEL Monday. And really what that is a very, very short lesson. It's typically recorded. We have asked kids, and kids love doing it, and we record them, and they teach us the lesson, and then our teachers just show this 3 to 5 minute video, kind of giving that lesson. And then from there, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're reinforcing that message that was taught on that SEL Monday. So really just kind of continuing this throughout. But like I said, 5 minutes each week. That's it. But then we've embedded in everything else we do. Certain things that we've touched upon is communicating appropriately, which is extremely important, being that a lot of our kids live behind a computer for a year and a half, 2 years. Social media awareness, so important with kids. So many kids having access to social media platforms, having cell phones. Hygiene, that one was a little surprising, but that one came up based upon need. We know certain kids lacking in certain hygiene skills. As kids get into middle school, their bodies start to grow, and there are special needs that they didn't have to really worry about up until this age. So brushing your teeth, wearing deodorant, taking regular showers or baths, like all those things we want to teach them, and that was based upon need. Celebrating uniqueness, so vital. What makes you unique makes you amazing was kind of our theme to this. Goal setting, that was towards January when we start getting into the new calendar year. Self-management, self-care, responsible decision making, and making healthy habits. But then we also included that those Steve Akers, the happiness advantage, those 7 principles. So one of the videos you can see here, we see the two they were 6th graders, now they're 7th graders now, but they were given a lesson on the 3rd principle of the happiness advantage called the Tetris effect, and they just had a blast with it, and kids come up to us saying, hey, can I be part of the next Sel Monday video? So it really just kind of snowballed, and kids, I think, really get a kick out of other kids presenting to them as well. So that's what we do on the SEL side. PBIS we do as well. We do it a little bit different. We don't have the Possum or the Cub cards, but we do have what we call the Student of the Month. And what that is each team, like the 6th grade team nominates a student, the 7th grade team nominates a student. And really what we did this year is we're having an end of the month all student assembly where we have some fun, we have some games. We give out these students in the month where our teachers will come out and give these certificates to our kids, and we give them a little swag too, a little t-shirt action. But we give them a little Student of the Month t-shirt, and this is a picture from our last assembly, kind of my favorite picture of the day, but this is at the end of September here, where Miss Sklar was nominating a young man, Mr. Jesus. It was super sweet, so I thought I'd want to show that one. But then also at our assemblies, we're reteaching some skills that kids need to do, kids need to follow, some expectations of the building. And then also what we have incorporated is a positive referral certificate if you can see there on the right side. So that the positive referral certificates, students can nominate other students, staff can nominate students, and students can nominate staff. We feel as though positivity is contagious, and if we are positive, people around us are going to be more positive as well. So let's spread that positivity. So we were handing those out at our assembly. Kids loved it, and a lot of kids are surprised. Oh, I didn't know I got nominated by somebody. Who nominated me? So if you look here, we also included at the bottom of that certificate what the person wrote about them, and then also where they got it from as well. So we see a Giovanni wrote this about an Esteban. So it's just a very nice message. It's just very kind, and that's what we want our kids to learn and exemplify. The picture up above here, that's our Student of the Month kids. What we like to acknowledge them as much as possible. So we make them take a picture with us, and we put it on our website as well. So we just want to acknowledge our kids for what the good things that they're doing, and then to make sure our building is being as positive and supportive as possible as well. So we're going to get into our next part. I know Ms. Brogy is going to jump into this. So I just want to, if I could just give a little precursor here, ladies, but for the parents and guardians that are watching this, by all means, do not feel like we know we have all the answers. I know we were just talking here beforehand. I have some young boys. I know Colleen, you have some older kids. Nicole, maybe not yet. But we don't have all the answers, but we have learned a number of tricks over the years that we just want to give you guys, so that when you guys walk away from tonight, you guys can take something with you and hopefully apply a couple things to your families. So go ahead, Ms. Brogy.
And maybe you're asking yourself, what can I do at home to, reinforce what we're doing at school? And really, one of the most important things is to be open and to be honest and talk about feelings. Sometimes children do have strong feelings and they don't understand how they're feeling. And, you can express that you have strong feelings too. And, if they know that you're feeling, similar to them, then they can understand it better, and it, makes more sense to them. And just listen and validate their feelings. It's okay. They're going to, you want them to pick up their toys and they don't want to do it, and they start crying and they get angry. You can say, it's okay. I understand you're angry, but, now is the time we have to pick up our toys and get ready for bed. Validate those feelings, because you're allowed to have those feelings, and talk about it so they understand that it's okay. Again, our goal, just like the zones of regulation, you're going to have these strong feelings, but our goal is to always be calm and, maybe not ready to learn at home, maybe ready to go to bed, or, get those feelings under control, and model model behaviors that you want to see your own child have and do, because they're going to copy us no matter what we do as parents, right? If you're making good choices, they're going to probably hopefully make those good choices as well. And, I'm a parent. Sometimes we don't make the best choices, and they're going to model those as well and see what we're doing. So, as best as we can, model those good choices and model those good behaviors at home. And again, here's an example. You're reading with your child, or your child's trying to read, and they're getting frustrated. I'm horrible. I can't read. And instead of just telling them, no, you're not, really tell them. So I see you're getting frustrated. I see that, maybe we need to take a break from this. Maybe we can read later on, or, tell them they're doing a good job. It's tough. And, you're going to have those feelings, and you can take a break and try again later. So just the more you communicate with them, and they know it's okay to have those feelings, the easier it is for them to understand how they're feeling. So we can go to the next slide.
Trying to. There we go.
All right. And again, that positive feedback and encouragement, and that's all day at school. That's, one of the things we always try to promote, being positive, and at home as well, being positive, encouraging them, kids, let them know they're loved and supported, and reinforcing again how important school is, and things that we're doing at school and things they're doing at home, letting them know that they're making good choices and doing the right things. Focus on those positive behaviors. Sometimes you're feeling, we're having a hard day and they're struggling. If they do end up picking up a toy or saying something nice to their sister or brother, reinforce how wonderful that is. They want to make us happy. So if they see that you're excited and happy about it, they're going to continue to do those behaviors. So the more we reinforce those behaviors, the more we'll hopefully see those behaviors, and use those encouraging words. And be specific and intentional with your positive feedback. If you see them doing something good, explain. You like with the reading, you are becoming such a strong reader. I can see that you're practicing. I can see you're reading at school. I can see you're reading at home too. Look how much easier it's getting for you to read those words and understand what you're reading. So the more that you show them the positive behavior and explain to them what a great job they're doing, the more you'll see that. And, again, who doesn't like positive feedback? Even as adults, we like to hear that as well.
Yeah, like being told, hey, you're doing a great job. I think it doesn't matter how old you are, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. All right, Miss Clement.
So Mrs. Brogy mentioned earlier that we really want to model healthy coping skills and strategies for the kids. So showing them how you deal with stress will model for them how they should deal with stress. So just like we mentioned earlier, taking care of ourselves as teachers, it's just as important to take care of yourselves as parents or guardians. So make sure you're taking time for yourself, practice relaxation techniques. There's lots of resources out there like meditation videos, breathing videos, yoga videos that can help. Spending time on things that you enjoy, and just taking a break from the things that are stressful. I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but it's important to take care of ourselves, and doing things that calm us and make us feel relaxed really is important. Reaching out to friends and family, and we also recommend giving kids time limits on electronics, because I know even as adults, we tend to turn to our phones, our iPads, TVs a lot of times because it's an easy way to just distract. But it is good to put limits on it so you don't get so wrapped up.
Okay.
And then the next thing we suggest is to really look out for behavior changes in your child. So your child better than anyone. While we spend a lot of time with them at school, you are you are their parents, you know them best. So if you are noticing something that is different, for example, they aren't as interested in things that they normally would be interested in, just things that aren't their typical behavior. It's a good idea to reach out for help. We have lots of resources at school, and we are always happy to help as much as we're able to. Keep things positive as you can. Suggest hobbies, activities, things to keep their spirits up. And then keep in mind that kids can be, through social media and things like that, can be linked with each other at all times of the day, especially if they have access to their own cell phones. So that mainly applies to some of our older students, but just good thing to keep in mind. Model good social media habits for them, monitor, and we also suggest maybe handing over the phone at night, just so you know where it is and what's going on.
Well, that's great advice there, for sure. All right, and a couple more just to round it out. We don't want to overwhelm you guys by any means here, but what else can you do at home? Involve your kids in the decision-making process. Kids are just gonna, that buy-in when they feel like they're being heard and that they're able to offer suggestions that might be considered in the overall decision of the family. You're gonna get that buy-in that much more. And that's something we do at the school as well, is we want to make sure our kids are being heard. We want to really encourage their voice, and because this is their school. They're part of it. They're the most important part of this. And just like, your kids are, a vital part of your family as well. But, allow them to think, problem solve, and also just to weigh the pros and cons of their decisions. And that's part of becoming an adult, is being able to think, is what my decision going to do, is that going to be good or bad for me, based upon, what I would like to do versus what I should do. So examples of what that might look like as a parent is, hey, asking your kid, what are your thoughts on this or that, and why? How do you think we should handle this kind of scenario, or this kind of situation? What do you think we should do? And also, do you think is it a good idea to do this? So you just kind of getting them to think a little bit, and it is so difficult, even at the middle school level, put yourself in somebody else's shoes. It's hard for them to relate to other people, because they don't think about other people. They're very impulsive, and they only think about themselves, usually in the now, and it's very short-sighted. But just offering them the ability to think outside the box and more of a worldly perspective is just so important. The last one for us is create routines and set boundaries. This is so important, and this is something that we do in the school, and it's something that we still work on, and it's part of our teacher university that we talked about a little earlier. Is what are your expectations? To make them clear, make them simple, and make sure our kids understand our expectations. Some of them I'm just thinking of from my home is homework needs to be done before you're able to watch TV, and that's something when you get home. Hey, we're not doing anything. The first thing you're doing, you're sitting at the dining room table. Kids flourish in routines. They know as soon as they get home, all right, even though I'm not a big fan of homework, I'm going to sit down and I got to knock this thing out before I get what I want. So just being clear with your expectations and setting those routines are so important. We need to be in bed by 8 o'clock. Giving them a little countdown doesn't hurt. Hey, we got 10 minutes. You guys got to jump out of the shower. Now you got 5 minutes. You got 2 minutes. You better hurry up. That light's going to shut off. So you better get your pajamas on. Certain things like that. It's just give them a time frame to meet those expectations. And then what we do here, like I said, I have 3 younger boys, and they will annihilate our toy room. And we say, hey, you have 5 minutes to pick up your toys, and we can set the alarm on the Alexa. What we have found, me and my wife, is that, all right, Braden, you have the G.I. Joe man. William, you have the monster trucks. Or Anthony, you have the balls. That's your job. So that way they have some ownership in that. Hey, as soon as I get done with my job, I'm done. Forget the other 2. So just giving them specific jobs has really, what I have found, has worked for my family. So, it might work with yours. And then the last part here is just to set boundaries, to be consistent. If you have a certain expectation, if you start to waver on that, kids are going to pick up on that so fast. Oh, that 8 o'clock, well, I'm going to take a little bit longer, and tomorrow might be 8:05, and maybe next, in a couple days, it might be 8:15. And if I really slow down, maybe I'm at 8:30 then. So just make sure you're being consistent, make sure it's appropriate as well. Be enforceable. I think this one's interesting. Every once in a while, I'll hear somebody say, you better do this, or I'm going to throw away all your toys. Well, we know it's not going to happen, and we know that parent isn't going to throw away all the kids' toys. So make sure whatever your ultimatum is, whatever your directive is, make sure that the consequence can be enforceable. Hey, you better do this, or you're going to be sitting in timeout for 5 minutes. Whatever it is. But also finally, is to be decisive. Kids pick up on tone, and hey, I need you to finish up with this before you're able to go outside, versus, well, I was kind of hoping you were going to finish up with this before you go outside. Like, you kids pick up on tone, and just to be decisive, and be consistent, and make sure that whatever you're enforcing, it's enforceable, and those consequences are appropriate there as well. Okay.
And just to kind of summarize the night, just make sure your communication is open, honest, and positive. It's so important. And also give your child a voice and include them with the decision-making process when appropriate. Now, there's going to be some decisions that, the adults, the parents have to make. But when, those children can be a part of it, have your child help make those decisions if possible.
And then model the way and set clear expectations and stick to them.
Right. So I'm going to stop sharing here. I know we had a couple people in the room here. In fact, we have a few people here. So thank you guys for joining us. We feel as educators here, this is such an important topic, and we definitely want to share with you this. And when we sent out the survey at the beginning of the summer, like, what subjects do parents want to view and to be kind of taught on, this was one of those that kind of came up. So I just want to give you guys a little bit of time here to be able to ask either me, Colleen, or Nicole any questions that might come to mind, whether it's about these topics or about any specific situations. That would be great as well. So our first question here, thank you, Ms. Strauss, is how can parents find out what children are learning in zones of regulation? How can we use this at home if we don't know that structure of the teaching language, etc.? So would you guys like to touch upon that?
I can talk about Diamond Lake a little bit. A lot of times within our classrooms, we're sending, like with kindergarten, we had each zone, like the blue zone, children talked about the feelings, and they were bringing things that we completed home. And also we're going to start, hopefully this Friday, Dr. Berger is going to put a little section in our family communication, a PBIS section. So that'll talk about what we're doing in zones and what we're doing in our second step program and our PBIS. So it's just going to be kind of an overview a little bit, but you can always even talk to your teacher, your student's teacher, to get more information on how they're specifically, learning in their classroom and what they're learning.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, jump in.
That is amazing. And I feel like since they use it a lot more at Diamond Lake, you're probably going to get a lot more information home. If your child's in third grade, feel free to reach out to any of the third grade teachers, and we can tell you a little bit more about how we're using it in our classrooms. But I think that probably is your best answer, because Diamond Lake, I feel like, is probably using it a little bit more.
Yeah, and whether it's kindergarten all the way up into the intermediate school, it is something that kids are aware of, and they know those different zones, and really, I mean, some people think that this might be more of a primary kind of practice or curriculum, but there were teachers at the high school level where I came from that were piloting it in the high school as well. So it can be applied and modified, to specific grade levels, to all specific grade levels, all the way up to senior year in high school. So definitely very beneficial for sure.
And what's nice is when we're using them throughout all the buildings is we're using the same terminology and vocabulary. And, I know, especially when we were teaching virtually, when we were doing the zones, parents were using that at home. Oh, I noticed you're in the blue zone, what can we do? What are some strategies we can to get into the green zone? So it's really kind of nice to understand how the children are feeling and what zone they're in. And you can always even ask, your own child, "Ooh, you're very upset right now. What zone are you in?" And hopefully they can have that conversation with you.
Absolutely. Good advice. So thank you, Ms. Strauss. Any other questions out there? Give a little wait time.
That was a really good question. Thank you too.
All right. So if there are no other questions, I think we're going to end our evening then. So, as I would just wanted to kind of say to all the people that attended here, we really appreciate you being able to give up part of your time to join us tonight. Because as we said, this is such an important subject, and we just want to be able to help our families as much as possible. And this is one of the ways that we're trying to help our children, as we know they're navigating some very difficult and challenging times now, and we're there to support them, and we're there to support you guys as well. So, whether it's the middle school, the intermediate, or Diamond Lake, we are all on the same page towards supporting you guys and what you're doing as parents too. So, I wanted to say thank you. I appreciate your time, Ms. Strauss. Thank you for thanking us. We appreciate you coming in as well. But besides that, I think that is all for tonight. And have a great rest of your evening. All right,
Thank
take
you.
care. Bye, guys.